Half a day. Good morning. I'm Amanda de Leon Guerrero. I'm an assistant wildlife biologist for the Commonwealth of the Northern Ronda Island Division of Fish and Wildlife. My talk today is about estimating detection probabilities from point count survey for nightingale reed warbler on Saipan. Let's begin with a short description about the nightingale reed warbler. The nightingale reed warbler, also known in Chamorro as Gagakarisu or Palumencephla, is a federally listed endangered songbird of the Northern Ronda Islands, which currently exists only on Saipan and Alamagan. There was three subspecies that occurred on Guam, Pagan, and Aguigan, but they are now extinct. The Guam subspecies was last sighted in 1969 by the Guam Division of Aquatic and Wildlife Resource. The Pagan subspecies probably went extinct before the 1981 volcanic eruption. Surveys were done in 1970, 1980, 2000, and 2010, and all failed to find evidence of the presence of nightingale reed warbler in Pagan. So most likely, it even went extinct before the 70s. For Aguigan, in 1982, there was some individual recorded. However, there were no sighting in later surveys. Nightingale reed warbler species also occurred on Tinian prehistorically, but is now extinct. It was also not detected in any recent surveys. The picture above is of a nightingale reed warbler. It is a long-billed, pale yellowish bird with a yellow eyebrow and shaggy head feathers. Female are similar to male appearance, but are slightly smaller. They are known to feed on lizards, snails, insects, and larvae. Male nightingale reed warbler are extremely territorial, especially during breeding season. They are often heard rather than seen. I am now going to play a recording of a male nightingale reed warbler song. Their song is quite beautiful. Male nightingale reed warbler has a very distinct song, and the female nightingale reed warbler makes squawk calls. In the photo below, it's actually a nest of a nightingale reed warbler. Nest construction typically takes 3 to 4 days, and nest tends to be either tightly woven and compact or larger and tightly woven with a bulky outer material. Reed warblers have recently shown steady declines due to threats such as habitat loss, introduction of invasive species, and volcanic eruption. With the steady decline of reed warbler on Saipan, determining the detection probability during point count surveys is essential for accurate population estimates and determining presence or absence of the species on properties proposed for development. The project details. With the use of mist nets and recording of a male reed warbler song or calls, like the one just played, Division of Fish and Wildlife staff captured 30 nightingale reed warblers on Saipan across different vegetation types. We attach a USGS aluminum band, as well as a 3-color band and a transmitter on each bird for tracking purposes. 5 random non-playback and 3 random playback-assisted surveys were conducted on each captured bird to estimate difference in non-playback versus playback-assisted and seasonal detection. A total of 240 surveys, of which 150 playback absent and 90 playback assisted surveys were conducted at sites with a known nightingale reed warbler presence. This graph is a nightingale reed warbler seasonal detectability using passive surveys on Saipan in 2019 to 2020. The green is the detections, and blue are the when it didn't get detected. The survey sample size are also indicated on the graph. For passive surveys, there was a total size of 150, total sample size of 150. There was a 25 sample size for February to March, 25 from April to May, 34 from June to July, 29 from August to September, 27 from October to November, and 10 sample size on December to January. Preliminary results indicate that for non-playback surveys, detectability varied slightly depending on the time of year. However, with the exception of June to July surveys, detectability did not surpass 50%. So it was only for June to July the detection did pass 50%. For the rest of the months, it did not. For the second graph, it is the reed warbler seasonal detectability using playback assisted surveys on Saipan in 2019 to 2020. Their survey sample size are also listed on the graph up here. For active survey, there are a total sample size of 90, 11 sample size from February to March, 17 from April to May, 23 from June to July, 17 from August to September, 16 from October to November, and 6 from December to January. For playback assisted surveys, there is a distinct increase in detectability during the June to July, and October to November surveys. As expected, playback assisted surveys had a higher detection rate than non-playback surveys. As mentioned, these are the preliminary results, and data from this project is still being analyzed. The project's future work will help develop a preliminary model to predict nightingale reed warbler occupancy to guide Division of Fish and Wildlife conservation and management decisions, and improve recommendations for avoidance and mitigation measures for development projects. Funding for this project was provided by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service through the Wildlife Restoration and Spearfish Program. I would also like to thank the wildlife staff who helped with data collection, Emily Kohler and Lever Sablon. Any questions?